Next, tough choices for states facing record budget shortfalls. NewsHour correspondent Tom Bearden reports from Colorado.
A truck rolls up to a Denver soup kitchen, not to deliver food, but medical care for the homeless.
And so are you here about your throat?
Nice and fast and loud.
You gotta look behind your ears, okay? It's real important that we do that.
Inside, people are treated for diabetes, high blood pressure, mental health problems. About 2,200 patients a year.
Hey, Roger, how you doing?
The Colorado Coalition for the Homeless has been operating the mobile clinic for 8 years, and they believe it's saved countless lives.
All right, well, I'll look in your ears and I'll listen to you again and see what else I've got to offer. And
Sherry is homeless. The truck is her primary health care resource. She's scared because this is the mobile clinic's last run.
Freaking me out kind of because, like, now when you're homeless, that's the whole day out of, and that's a lot when you're trying to find a safe place and warm place to sleep and trying to make some money so you can do what you have to do, and it's hard and sometimes just impossible. So people will end up going without health care.
Now, the other day I was in the clinic.
The clinic is one of the victims of a $2 billion shortfall in the Colorado state budget. 43 states have cut services to their residents due to budget deficits. Tax revenues have plunged during the recession, and the state has been forced to reduce funding for groups like the Coalition, as well as many other government services.
Well, it's the worst recession since the Great Depression. Anybody who finds themselves in a position where they're trying to reconcile the shortfalls, I think, are dealing with really the worst budget decision we've seen since the 1930s.
Governor Bill Ritter says he went through the $18 billion state budget literally line by line, looking for cuts that would have the least impact on people.
This is a very difficult time because there's a lot of different places where you can look at this budget and know that there's an impact on human beings and on real people. Because cuts have a different impact than growing the budget does, because they have a negative impact that could really hurt the quality of life in some respects, it's important to do them line by line.
We've been meeting with the neighborhood now for a little bit over a year.
But John Parvensky, who runs the Coalition for the Homeless, says the $3.4 million hit his organization took is going to cost lives.
If we see more and more people in the shelters and on the streets, more people who are denied access to the health and the mental health services that they need, there's no escaping the fact that there will be more people dying on the streets of our country.
The governor is sympathetic, but says something had to give.
We've done everything we can in the circumstance we find ourselves in to protect the safety net, and we've done that with input from John Parvensky and other people like him.
Follow the light with just your eyes.
Parvensky says the state funds totaled about 25% of his entire health care budget. That deciding how to allocate the remaining money was a challenge.
When they come in our door, they're very needy, so we've structured our programs very efficiently to be able to respond to the need. We've always done it on a shoestring as much as we can, very light in the administrative side. So there's not much to cut when you face a budget cut of that magnitude.
Hi, Alexander. How are you today?
Parvensky froze all salaries and then closed this women's mental health facility. He says the hardest decision was to close the mobile clinic, which cost about $250,000 a year to operate.
Okay, with your mouth open, big breath.
Dr. Amy Alper-Panea worked on the van for more than 3 years.
Sometimes we'll get that person who just wants some ibuprofen, and so they'll come on board, and then as we sit and we talk to them and we hear their story, we find out that there's a whole bunch of other things going on, whether it's socially or mentally or medically. And so I feel like we are a first front of the line kind of van or an organization that can help connect people to further services that they may need.
Ritter says he understands the problem but has no choice. $3.4 million is pocket change in the state budget. Are you down to making decisions about amounts of money like that are so small?
Well, yes, and then this has been a surgical exercise, and the reason is because those small amounts ultimately can build to a big amount.
The cuts come just as the need for these services is increasing. More people are showing up at soup kitchens because the Department of Housing and Urban Development estimates the number of homeless families has gone up almost 10% in just the last 2 years.
Any emergencies or anything of that nature, you just go to the emergency room and you can't rely on the van any longer.
Melinda Patterson is the director of Father Woody's Soup Kitchen.
So this time a couple years ago, even last year, we probably had 100 people, and now we're seeing about 400 a day.
Parvensky says the dilemma facing groups like his is how to help more people with less money.
I've been doing this work now for almost 25 years, and this is the first time that we've been faced with an increase in the need of the population at a time when the funding is decreasing so rapidly. It's very discouraging and it's very heart-wrenching. Every day I walk through the lobby and see more and more people, families with kids, adults, who are waiting for help.
Its last run complete, the Homeless Coalition's mobile clinic was put into storage. Parvensky is trying to find private grant money to put it back on the street. In the meantime, Governor Ritter and the state legislature face another $1.5 billion budget shortfall in the next fiscal year, meaning they'll have to go back through the state budget once again, looking for more ways to save money.